Okay. This week, I'm going to try and look at two songs. One is Drift Away. It's a song I've heard on the radio many times. And another song, It's Probably Me, that Sting did. I was surprised to see when I looked up the sheet music for it, Eric Clapton's name and another gentleman's name, Michael Kamen, also show up on it, which I wasn't aware that Eric Clapton helped write it. Maybe, I don't know. I'll have to look into that. I don't know if he was collaborating with Sting or if maybe Sting drew inspiration from something he did. But anyway, I thought you'd find that interesting. It has Eric Clapton's name on the sheet music. So let me start with the first one. That being Drift Away. And by the way, I get the sheet music I'm looking at off of a website called musicnotes.com. I'm not sponsored by them, but thought I'd mention that in case you decide you want to try and look at these songs. You can try and find the one that I'm using. This song is shown on the sheet music as by someone called Mentor Williams. I don't think that's who sang it, but I could be wrong. So I'll go through the first set of chords that show up. Hopefully my volume, one moment, I think my mic's off on one of these. There. Sorry, I have a laptop and a desktop. I'm still learning how to do this. Hopefully now that I switched the one mic to on, my laptop is working correctly. So this song, you start off with B. You just take your index finger and you bar the second fret, every string except the top one. And then you're technically supposed to use your second through pinky fingers to fret the strings from the third from the top to the next to the bottom strings on the fourth fret. But to be honest, what I normally end up doing is I end up barring approximately those strings on the fourth fret with my ring finger. The next chord is the standard E. So you, on the first fret, third string from the bottom, use your index finger. And then on the second fret, second and third strings from the top, use your second and ring finger. And then play every string, including the open ones. And then they go back to B. Then they're showing E/F sharp, which, in case you don't know, when you see a slash after a chord letter and then another letter, they're letting you know they've changed the root of the chord. So instead of it being a standard E, they've added something to make the root of that chord they're playing something else. And in this case, it's an F sharp. So let's see, they're showing, I'm going to try and do it backwards. So I'll do it the way okay. So on the first fret, I'm going to use my index finger to press down the third from the bottom string. And then on the second fret, I'm going to use my second finger to press down on the top string and my ring finger to press down on the third from the top string. It's showing a little X on the next to the top string, which means my fingers are accidentally going to mute that string, or maybe intentionally. And then it's showing the bottom two strings open, which means I should play them. So you're going to strum all of them. Then they're showing E/G sharp, same story that I mentioned before about what that slash means. For the first part, on the second fret, third string from the top, I'm going to use my index finger to press down. Then I'm going to jump to the fourth fret and use my ring finger to press down on the top string. and my pinky to press down on the third from the bottom string. And similar story, one of the strings shows an X, which is due to the fact that my ring finger is kind of touching that string, so it's going to kind of mute it. And then the others are showing little circles, which means play them open. So you're gonna play strum every string, and then they're showing the B that we started with. So that's how the song starts. Then on the next line down, where the words for the song start, they show what they call E sus2, S-U-S, which means suspended, I think. It just means you're kind of altering that chord a little bit. So they're showing on the first fret, third string from the bottom, so I'm going to use my index finger there. They're showing on the second fret, second string from the top. I'm going to use my second finger for that. And then on the fourth string, third string from the top, they're showing pressing down. I'm going to use my pinky for that. You have to reach a little bit, so I'm going to use my pinky for that. And then you play every string. Now they're showing B again, but this time they're calling it B add 9. And add 9 refers to the fact that a chord has 8 notes in it. Not a chord, a scale. A scale has 8 notes in it, right? You start, if it was in this case, B, you would start at B and work your way through all of the notes that show up in that scale until you get to the 8th note. And then you end up at the B at the higher octave after that. So when you see add 9, you're adding a note that would be right after that 8. So in this case, the 9 would be, I believe, C sharp. I'll have to double check myself. Feel free to double check me. But anyway, if you see something like a letter add something, that's what that implies. So they're saying B add 9. So I'm going to do it for the first part. I'm going to do exactly what I've been doing for B. But for the second part, because they've altered it, instead of using the bar that I usually do, I'm just going to use my ring and pinky finger to press down on the middle 2 strings, the third string from the top and the fourth string from the top. And by not pressing down on that third one that you normally would, you're making that adjustment they alluded to. Okay, then they show the standard E that we saw earlier. And they show E slash F sharp that we've already seen as well. So if you think about it, this is E. And then all we're doing for E slash F sharp is moving the second finger up to the top string. And then they're going back to that B add 9 we just saw. And that's the whole first page. Let's see, on the second page, the E shows up again, the B shows up again. C sharp minor we haven't seen yet. So C minor would just be this. And then by making it sharp, we're just moving it up 1 fret. So I'll do it for the normal C minor first. So for a C minor, you would fret the 3rd fret starting at the next to the top string. So the end of my index finger is sitting on C, which would be the root for the C minor. And then I use my second finger for the next to the bottom string on the next fret up. And I use my pinky and ring finger on the middle 2 strings on the 5th fret. So that's C minor, but here they're playing C sharp minor, so I'm literally just going to shift it up 1 fret. Then we see that E again. And then B that we started with earlier on. F sharp 7. Similar story about the sharp. You're just shifting up a half fret. So I'll go ahead and do it this time. So normally F would start on the first fret, but since it's a sharp, I know I need to shift up one, right? And the reason is this is F, that would be the root, but now the root's going to be F sharp, so I'm coming up to there. And since it's F, I'm going to bar the entire thing. I'm going to include the top string in that. The second finger is going to press down on the third string from the bottom on the third fret. And then I am going to use my ring finger. You could use your pinky too, I guess, but I'm going to use my ring finger for the next to the top string on the fourth fret. And then the C again. The E again. And then the original B we saw. Let's see. Then that F sharp 7 we just saw. Sorry. I forgot to shift it up. And back to E. And they're showing the B. Then let's see. Okay, here they're showing E/B, but it looks just like E. So the only difference is they're showing a little X for this top string. So you're leaving out the top string. So you want to try not to strum the top string, but just in case you do, what you can do is you can take your thumb and just gently rest your thumb against the top string to help mute it. C then B. And that E/B we just saw. And then D. And that gets us through the first pass through. I'll stop there on this one. I'm going to try and go through it once without stopping. I'll try and remember to call out most of the chords, but I won't, give the details again. So it starts with the B, E, B, E/F, sharp, E/G sharp, sorry, that's a new one for me. I'm having to remember what we did. Let's see. Oh, third from the top. And then that. And then B. And then E/sus2. Let's see. Nope. B add 9. E. E/F sharp. B add 9. E. You know it's a game that I hate to lose. B. C sharp minor. Nope. Sorry. And I'm feeling the strain. E. Ain't it a shame? Oh, maybe I'll be yours and play my song. F sharp 7. Wanna get lost in the rock and roll. E. B. Maybe was a free up 7. Wanna get lost in your world, be drift away. B, E/B, B, E/B, B. I'll stop there with this one this time and pick up next time. The second song I mentioned I was going to look at this week is It's Probably Me by Sting, and it also lists Eric Clapton and Michael Kamen as authors. This one is shown starting off with what they're calling a C5, and they're showing it in this shape. So they're starting on the 3rd fret next to the top string, and then on the 5th fret, the middle 2 strings. And I'm going to use my index finger for the first one and my ring and pinky finger for the next 2. And then you leave out the top string and the bottom 2 strings if you can. It shows playing that for 3 full measures. This song, I forgot to mention, has a very particular timing. You'll have to, I tried listening to it on YouTube before I started this video. So I encourage you to do the same if you're going to do this. It has a very specific timing in the way he sings it and the way they play it. The next chord is D5. So he's literally just moving that same shape up 2. And the reason is that's a C. If you go up 2 measures, you end up at D. Then he's showing E/5, which they're showing on the 2nd fret, 2nd and 3rd strings from the top, and I'm going to use my index and 2nd finger, and they're showing the top string being played open and the bottom strings not being played. Okay, then they're showing A-7. So this is an A minor. You just put your index finger on the next to the bottom string on the 1st fret, and then your 2nd and 3rd finger, your ring finger, on the middle 2 strings on the 2nd fret, and then you lift up. That's A minor. And if you lift up your ring finger from the 4th string from the top, just under the 2nd finger I have down, it turns it into A-7, and then you play everything but the top string. And they're showing a standard D chord, which is, I first put down my ring finger on the next to bottom string on the 3rd fret, and then you can just put down your 2nd finger on the bottom string on the 2nd fret and your index finger on the 3rd from the bottom string, and that forms a standard D. And then you also play the string right above that open, which is a D by default, and you leave out the top 2 strings. And they're showing that E5 again. That's going to take practice because I'm supposed to leave out the bottom 3 and accidentally. Then they're showing that A-7 again. I noticed in the music video, the guitarist has a capo on the very 1st fret. So he is adjusting it, but this sheet music didn't. They will normally use a capo on this fret, and since this particular one didn't do that, I won't do that, but thought I should mention that. The next chord is a B-7, which starts on the 2nd fret, and then the next to the bottom string on the next fret up, and then the 3rd from the top string on the 4th fret up. I'll use my ring finger for that, and you include everything but the top string. Then that E5 again. then they're showing a new one they're calling it A9. So they're showing on the second fret, they're barring 3 strings. They're starting with the third string from the top and including the next 2 down, and they're using their index finger to that. And the reason I know that is they have 2 dots, one on the top string I just mentioned, one on the bottom, and they show a little arc that connects them, and that indicates that they're barring it. They're then including the bottom string on the 3rd fret, so I'll try using my ring finger for that, and then I'll try using my pinky for the last one, which is the 3rd string from the bottom. And then they're playing the 2nd from the top string open, but leaving out everything else, which the 2nd from the top string, of course, is the A string. Then they're playing C add 9, which that story I told earlier about what add 9, hopefully you heard that. So normally this would be C, but since they're changing it, we're going to keep this part, this upper 2-string part, that's going to show up, but this goes away, and in its place they're going to use their ring and index finger on the bottom 2 strings of the 3rd fret as well, and they're going to leave off the top string. So that, just in case it wasn't clear, on the 2nd fret, 3rd from the top string, and then on the 3rd fret next to the top string. Normally you would play that with your 2nd and 3rd finger, but since the shape's different, I'm going to play it with my 1st and 2nd finger. And then instead of playing the first note you normally play on a C, you, on the 3rd fret, use your ring and pinky finger for the bottom 2 strings on the 3rd fret and leave out the top string. Then they're showing a B7 sharp 9. 1st fret, 3rd string from the top, 2nd fret next to the top string, and the 2 strings down, so the 4th string from the top, and then on the 3rd fret, 2nd from the bottom string, which I'll grab that with my pinky, and then they're leaving out the very top and bottom strings. And then that E5 we saw earlier. And that's where the first pass through ends, and they pick up on the next, the second pass through. So I'll go back to the beginning and see if I can go through it once. Let's see. So he starts with that C5. D5. A minor 7. Strangers go deep. Did you see E5? You ask yourself, A minor 7. Watch for me, B minor 7. My only friend, E5. Who could it be? That A9 we just saw. That's a little tricky, so I'm going to have to stop for this one. Nope. It's hard to say it. That C add 9 we saw. I hate to say it. B B7 sharp. B7, sorry. Sharp 9. It's probably me. E5. That's where the first pass through stops. I'll stop there for today. Hopefully this is helpful to you. Thanks.